Hello there. In this video, I'm going to show you how to access Tinkercad and how to create circuits in it. The first thing you have to do is visit the website tinkercad.com. Once you are in the website, you will be greeted with this page. It's very colorful. It has some of the things that you can do using Autodesk Tinkercad. First of all, you have to join now if you don't have an account. You click join now. There are different ways to join. You can also just sign in if you have an account already, as I do. I'm going to click sign in, and there's different options that you can use to sign in. I'm going to use the option with Facebook that I've already created my account with. Once you open your account, you will see that it takes you to the page where any designs that you have will be displayed here in this space in the center. You can see that I do not have any 3D designs. However, that's not really what I'm interested in for this lesson. I am interested in making circuits with Autodesk Tinkercad. I am going to click on circuits on the left side of my window. You notice that here, any circuits that you create, you can see all in the center of the page. You can tinker them if you already have them made, but since most of you, since most of you probably have never created a circuit, that's what this tutorial is for. So let's start creating one. You click here on the left, create new circuit, and a new circuit window will appear. You see there's an entire center space where there is just blank area for you to build your circuit. On the right hand side, you see all the components that are available to you. Let's begin by not limiting ourselves to just basic components. You can see on the top right how it says components are basic. Let's change that option in our drop-down menu by clicking the drop-down and changing to all components. When you change to all components, now in this menu bar on the right, you see a lot more components than just the basic components. Okay, let's start building a circuit here in the center. Let's put a little LED on a breadboard. So the first thing you have to do is find a breadboard. So here on the side, you see the general components. You see input devices such as switches and sensors. If you scroll down a little bit more, you see that there's output devices such as lamps, LEDs, neopixels, motors. It's funny, but there's even a potato battery under power and lemon battery. I'm going to go a little bit down, and here are our breadboards. Now, I accidentally clicked on it. Let me show you. I'm going to press delete. Let me do that again. I think I accidentally clicked on breadboard. To actually get a breadboard, you select there's a standard size, a small one, and a mini one. I'm going to use a small one for now. To do that, I just click once and then move my mouse to the center, and my breadboard is following my mouse. I click again, and the breadboard is placed in my work area, and the properties of the breadboard come up here. You can change the name. No, it's name number 2 because the other one was one that I accidentally placed. Anyway, so one thing that you should notice is that as long as you have the breadboard selected, notice I'm going to click outside of the breadboard and the highlight goes away. If I select my breadboard again, the highlight comes back. If I want to modify my breadboard a little bit by rotating it, I'm going to have to make sure that it is selected and then press rotate on the top left. If you notice, when I press rotate, it rotates by a few degrees. I think it's 30 degrees each time. And you can do it also, instead of having to click here, I can click my keyboard and it does the same thing. Now I just click the R key on my keyboard to rotate. Now that I have a breadboard, I want to bring in another little device. I'm going to go all the way to the top. Oh, not so quite. Right there where the LEDs are. And I just click on the device and bring it here. I can put it outside, I guess, if I wanted to. But I'm going to put it on the breadboard itself. Right there. Now, again, the properties for the component comes out. If I move away, they disappear. If I click on the LED, the properties come out. I can name it. I can change the color to green. I'm going to leave it red for now so that you can see it for this tutorial. I also want a resistor. So I'm going to go, that's the first device on the top. I'm going to click once and place it around there. I do not want it to be 1000 kilo ohms or 1 kilo ohm. Notice the colors are brown, black, red for now. I'm going to change it. Notice how the lines are going to change. I'm going to make it 330 by typing on my keyboard, and then I'm going to change it to regular ohms. And notice that the colors on the resistor change as you have learned or will learn about resistor color coding. Now, I don't want it vertically, I want it horizontally, so I'm going laid out horizontally, so I'm going to click R on my keyboard. There you go. And then I'm going to place it right next to the anode connection of my LED. Now, one thing you may notice, I'm going to zoom in and out of my breadboard by using my scroll wheel on my mouse. By using the scroll wheel, I can see a little clearer now. Check it out, it's pretty cool. As you know, a breadboard has these clips underneath, and this software highlights the connections that are made at each clip. So here you have the 5 holes at each one. If I come down here, also the same thing, the rails, it shows you all they are connected. So it's a really good visual cue that I think Tinkercad has done a really good job with. Now, before I connect this circuit to power and ground, I have to make sure that I have power and ground on my power and ground rails. Again, these are typically used for power and ground, even though they don't have to, that's typically the case. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Oh, I zoomed out, but in the wrong place. Now I want to move my window a little down. So all I do is I click over here on any side of the space, click once and move my mouse down, and my breadboard, my whole working space slides down. I'm going to go get a power source. I can come down here to the right and scroll down. I can also type it, but since I don't assume that you know the name of all the components when we first start, I'm going to show you by scrolling. Now, I don't want any of these for now. I could use them, but I'm going to go to the standard power supply instrument. I click once, I bring it over here into my work area, and I'm going to set it to 5 volts because that's what I want the standard circuits in my class use. So that's what I'm going to use, 5 volts. You can change the name, and the current, I'm going to leave it that it could do up to whatever the circuit needs. So 5 amps as well. I'm going to then click away from both of those, and I would like to make a connection from the positive side of my power supply to the positive side of my breadboard, the rail right here. Now it's as simple as clicking, just left click, regular click, left click on where you want to start a wire, and then a wire is following you to wherever you want to connect it, and you just click wherever you want to finish it, okay, like that, and it makes a straight wire. However, straight wires are not always ideal when you're breadboarding. You want to kind of bend around things, so I'm going to go back to it, select it, and delete it, or just press the delete key on my keyboard. What I want to show you is how to make bendy wires. I don't know if that's a technical name, but that's what I call them. So I click here, and then what I want to do is I want to make a bend on my wire at this point. So I'm going to click down once, and notice that now there's a bend. I'm going to make another bend down here, and then I'm going to come to the end of it and click. If I click wherever there is a connection point, it actually finishes the wire. You can see there that my wire now is bend, and it goes around in different shapes. I can move the bending points so that they follow whatever I guess angle you want. And notice these crosshairs. If I have a perfect 90-degree bend, the vertical and horizontal blue lines appear like that. So that's pretty neat. It helps me organize everything nice and square. If I want to add a bend, I just take my wire, like as long as it's selected, like that it won't work, but if I select it and then I double click wherever I want to add a bend, for example here, it makes a new bending point, and then you can bend it again. If I don't want a bending point, let's say I don't want that bending point or that one, like the one that I just put, see how it gets highlighted in white? As long as it's highlighted like that and I press delete or press the delete key on my keyboard, the bend point goes away. Very well. Lastly, you can see that as long as your cable is highlighted, your wire, you can change the color by selecting them. I can choose black for, oh no, that's not black, it's red. It's supposed to be red for the positive side of my battery or my power supply. You can also do that by selecting the wire. Instead of having to come over here to the properties and select the color, on your keyboard, you can just press any number 1 through 9 and 0. So check it out. I'm going to press 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. And you can see I kind of exaggerated my clicking so you could hear it, but I'm going to go back to 2, which is red. I remember red and black very easily, 1 and 2, black and red. So now you know how to change the properties of a wire. Now I'm done with that one. I'm going to make the negative connection, and I'm going to bend there, and bend there. I'm going to click 1, and now my wire is connected. After a while, you'll see that you get faster at making these wires, and you remember the colors a little bit better. So now that I have power and ground on my rail, I'm going to connect here. And now I'm going to work a little closer. So I'm going to zoom in right around there. Also, if you want to hide this component window, you can just click on that little arrow and it goes away. And if you want it back, you just click back at it and it comes back. I'm going to leave it away for now. And so now here, what I want to do is I want to connect the cathode side of my LED to the negative side. So what I'm going to do is I could choose the wire, I guess, in the back, but these holes are being covered by the LED. You could rotate the LED if you wanted to, I guess. I'm going to leave it like that and just connect from here just so that it's visible. So let's start there at that hole. Now, I want to bend it kind of like bottom left and then go upwards. So to do that, if I come over here to the left, notice that it wants to connect to that next clip hole right there. But I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to go kind of in between right here and click once. And it creates a bending point right there. And then right there. And then I'm going to click right in between the holes. And then as you can see, my wire, and I can still bend, move these bend points if I wanted to. But I'm pretty satisfied with that little, the look of that wire. So I'm going to leave it like that. On this side, it goes, I need to connect it to the positive side, I'm going to just go straight. Now, it's a good practice not to cover holes whenever you're breadboarding, so I'm going to connect from all the way from the top to positive, and then click 2 so that my wire is then red. So there you have it. We have a complete circuit that the electricity has the connections all the way from the positive side. Notice it connects to through the resistor, so the electricity is going to go through the resistor, under the clip, to this side, to the anode side of the LED, through the LED, to the other clip, to the back side, to the other side of the circuit. Now we're ready to test it out. So to test it out, we just press start simulation. And as long as we set this component to 5 volts and everything's good, yeah, I'll check that out. Press start simulation and you can see that the LED turns on. I think it's pretty awesome. So now, as you're here, when you're running the simulation, you can interact with the instruments. So for example, I can turn it off by clicking the power button of the instrument. Notice my simulation is still running, but since I turned off my power supply, my LED's off, on and off. You can also leave it on and actually dial this up, and you notice that, my LED is burning, so that's not a good thing, right? And it gives you a message here. Let me see if I can zoom in if the words are a little, I don't think the words get a little any larger, but it says the current through the LED is 83.3 milliamp, while recommended maximum is 20 milliamps. The usable lifetime of the LED may be reduced. So there you have it, my LED. If I was using this in a real breadboard in front of me, that LED would not be on at the moment. It would probably be damaged and burned up. So I'm going to turn it back down to 5 volts by clicking on the knob. Oh, I can't get it exactly with my mouse. So what I can do is just click on the device and change it by typing 5 on my keyboard. Well, I clicked on my other one, so excuse that. So now, hide that code. I think I keep my keypad and that's why that came up. Anyway, so here we have it. Again, you have your power supply that you can tune. You can turn it on and off. This is just a basic LED. I'm going to stop the simulation and show you one last thing. Again, these properties over here on the left are to rotate, to delete, undo and redo. Most times I get used to it, and I think you should. It's going to be handy for you to use your keyboard on your non-dominant hand for that. That's my left hand. I click R for rotate, press the delete key to delete, Control Z for undo, etc. So some of the keys that you guys are probably used to. The one thing I want to show you is this little comment or little note tool. So when you click on it, what you could do is, let's say you have a large circuit and you want to kind of annotate what things are doing. So I'm going to put it right here next to my LED, and then you can type a note, and I can put, I don't know, remember to not put too much current. Oh, I can't spell current through the LED. And then, so, oh, I want that to be there. And so that little comment is there. I can also move it around in different places. If I want to have it there as a node, but I don't want to see it all the time, I can just click the little minus or click the little button again, and it expands. So it's just kind of comments that are there. If you have lots of these throughout your circuit, lots of different comments, you can turn them all off by clicking this little icon on the top, and so any comments that you have on your entire circuit will disappear if you hide them, and then you can see that they're hidden because it has a little slash through the little eyeball. There you have it, everybody. Again, this is just the basic tutorial on how to use some of the components and features of Tinkercad. Oh, I forgot one last thing. So I apologize for this. The last thing is how to change the name. Forgot to mention that. So to change the name, notice that it's a kind of a random name that they assign. You just click on it and make it something that makes sense to you. I'm going to call it my first circuit. Whatever name you decide to call it, whenever you go back, it's automatically saved. You can notice here that all changes are saved as you're working. And if I want to go back to Tinkercad, my circuit is saved. And now it's here in the top left. This is the last time I access my circuit. If I want to go back to the circuit, I just click on it again, and it shows me the circuit. And I can click Tinker this, and it takes me to the circuit, and I can start tinkering with it again. Yeah. If your circuits become quite large, you'll notice that there's a little bit of a delay. Like for example, this one that I have, if I click on it and I say tinker this, it may take a little longer to load because it has a lot more components. But you'll realize that how to work with this. And see, it took a little longer, but it's still loaded. Oh, not so proud of this one. It's a little bit messy, but it's there. Okay, so there you have it, everybody. That was a quick tutorial on how to use Tinkercad circuits and use some of the basic features such as making wires and making bendy wires and editing some other features. All right, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Ta-da for now.